fuck you think, Rick, huh? You think you wanna go get caught? I don't know what the fuck you talking about. What the fuck I'm talking about? Fucking look at me. 8 kilos.
It's 1984. A father and son are haggling with a gun dealer, trying to buy Kalashnikov assault rifles at a lower price.
Dad, check this out. Smith & Wesson, $639.
Richard Wershe Jr. tricks the dealer by threatening that he'll lose his license for trying to sell a rifle to a 14-year-old boy.
Batman, the Ray-Bans, have any idea you're hustling off Egyptian AKs to a 14-year-old boy?
The Wershe family lives in Detroit, a city that has fallen into disrepair, but Richard has no intention of leaving.
You and I are gonna open up a video store, Rick. We're not just gonna have one store, we're gonna have dozens of stores.
He dreams of opening a chain of video stores and making a ton of money. One day, Richard notices a black dealer's car near his house. The Kalashnikov he bought comes in handy when he uses it to threaten his daughter's boyfriend, Dwayne, who's already high.
How long is it taking to button a fucking button tie? Zip up and get the fuck out of my house!
Richard tells his daughter to get ready because they're going out for ice cream. But Dwayne is more interested in hanging out with Tyrone.
Back.
Get the fuck off of me!
Get back in the house, Don. Go in the house and get dressed.
She runs after Tyrone's car in her underwear. Just then, her grandparents arrive and get involved in the family argument.
Put some clothes on, will ya? We're going for custard.
In the basement, Richard works on making silencers for the Kalashnikovs he bought. The next morning, Dwayne wakes her brother and warns him that she's leaving the house for good.
I'm leaving.
Leaving?
She moves in with Tyrone because she can't stand living under the same roof as their father. White people mostly live in the suburbs of Detroit, while the city center is home to poor African Americans. Richard Jr., or Ricky, stands out from everyone else. He shows up at a gang hideout and offers to sell them Kalashnikovs.
How much?
100. Both.
The silencers he made have greatly increased their value.
You got some balls coming here like you did, boy. You either stupid or crazy.
Rudel, one of the gang members, is shocked by Ricky's boldness. He can't believe this white kid just walked in like that, risking his life.
Look like you robbed a fucking Kmart or something.
Alright, cool.
Impressed, Rudel invites Ricky to their skating rink that evening. Ricky is the only white guy, the snowball, in the black gang. He's especially drawn to a crime boss named Johnny Curry, who happens to be the mayor's niece. Local cops even moonlight as her bodyguards. In Detroit, everyone seems connected. The next morning, FBI agents show up at the Wershe house.
We have you ID'd at a gun show last month in Ohio.
They accuse Richard Sr. of illegally manufacturing, possessing, and selling weapons, the same silencers he made earlier.
That's a 10-year ticket, Rick. You want to go away for 10 years?
The agents demand that he turn in his buyers, but Richard refuses to cut a deal. Then Agent Snyder calls Ricky over and shows him photos of local gangsters.
Do you know any of these guys by name?
Ricky only points to the ones who've already been taken down. Of course, he didn't snitch on Johnny Curry, the gang leader.
You know him?
No.
You sure?
Ricky and the crew spent their time shooting rats with a pistol. One of them even got splattered with blood.
Yo, fuck that! Look at my shirt! I gotta go fucking change.
Fidel wasn't with the feds, but the feds realized they could pressure Ricky. So one evening they pulled up and asked him to get in their car.
Why don't you get in the car?
For what?
I got someone I want you to meet. Get in the car.
Inside was Detective Jackson from the Drug Enforcement Division. The streets were flooded with crack dealers, and Ricky had already seen the damage the drug caused, especially from what happened to his sister. But none of those warnings seemed to get through to him.
Ricky, we just want to show you something, okay?
Then the agent showed him a photo of a dead man, shot twice in the head, with a pistol his father had bought earlier at a gun show.
We haven't found the killer yet, but we did find the weapon.
Suddenly, his father's fate was in Ricky's hands. So, Ricky agreed to cooperate. They took him to a dealer's place to make a buy. After completing the job, Ricky went home carrying a giant duck he'd found in the trash. For his work, he got paid $300. Later, Johnny Curry married the mayor's niece.
Brand new shit, nigga. That's for you. That's for you.
The celebration took place at the mayor's mansion. Ricky seemed to be the only white guy in the entire crowd. But soon, he noticed the man Johnny was chatting with. It was Art Derrick, the biggest supplier in the game.
That nigga, he moves some serious weight.
Ricky wandered through the mansion, daydreaming about becoming rich one day. After the banquet, the group went cruising around the city. That's when Ricky saw Brenda and asked her out.
Hey, Brenda, how you doing?
She was shocked. She thought he was dead. Usually, when someone suddenly stops showing up to school, it means they either dropped out or ended up in jail. Ricky flirted with Brenda, and with his new mustache giving him confidence, she couldn't resist.
Don't worry, we gonna take it slow.
No shit, we be taking it slow.
They ended up hooking up right there in the parking lot. Soon after, Detective Jackson gave Ricky a new assignment.
Dude, my dad finds this, he'll kick my ass.
Just make sure he doesn't find it then.
Selling dope on the streets. Ricky hated the idea, but Jackson told him he could keep all the profits.
You know what's in his bag? $4 grand.
Which meant about $4,000. There was no way a teenager could turn that down. Before long, he became one of the street pushers, and his shoebox full of cash was overflowing. It was 1985. Richard Sr. was still making money reselling guns. One day, he spotted his son riding in a car with the cops. Furious, he rushed home and tore through Ricky's room, only to find a box stuffed with $10,000.
They was gonna put your ass in jail.
Let him put my ass in jail.
And he didn't care that his son was just trying to protect him.
You know, you ought to be fucking thanking me.
That night, Ricky took a duck and drove off in his grandfather's car to a cafe. It was a little gift for his sister.
What's with the bird?
It's for you. But you don't like it?
Dwayne looked worse than ever. Her brother begged her to come home and promised she could leave Tyrone,
Ty's an asshole, Dawn.
the guy who was slowly destroying her life.
It ain't Ty fucking me up.
Later, Ricky forgot the car keys inside, and the vehicle got stolen. But the carjacker got away. They were immediately arrested and charged with possession of firearms, driving without a license, and attempted murder.
The guy stole my grandfather's car. This is fucking bullshit.
The FBI promised to clear Ricky in court, but when he asked about his sister,
What about my sister?
She walked. We told him the gun was yours.
Grandpa was furious at Ricky for losing the car.
Where's my Imperial, Ricky?
Feeling hopeless, Ricky drove to Johnny's garage where the gangsters started questioning him about what he'd told the cops.
What they charge you with, Rick?
They couldn't understand how he got out so fast. Johnny, already suspicious, warned Ricky to stay away from his business.
If I find out you got boo mixed up in this, Rick, I will personally correct your ass. You understand?
If he ever caught him carrying even a gram of dope near his spots, it'd be over.
You understand?
Yeah.
Leon Lucas owed Johnny a lot of money, but he managed to buy some time by inviting the crew to a boxing match in Las Vegas. That's where Ricky got his first real taste of the high life, and he couldn't help but stare at Kathy, Johnny's wife. He liked her the moment he saw her. When fight night came, Johnny found out no VIP seats had been reserved for them, and all the tickets were sold out.
Now, I'm gonna have to ask you to step aside.
So the gangsters had to settle for watching the match on TV in a nearby bar. Afterward, Johnny went to a party thrown by Art Derrick. There, another gangster started mocking him for being shut out of the fight.
Johnny Boy Blue haven't found his ticket.
Johnny lost it, grabbed a champagne bottle, and beat the guy half to death. Humiliated and boiling with rage, Johnny held a grudge against Leon Lucas for setting him up. He sent 2 of his men to Leon's house. They sprayed the place with bullets, while Leon's 2 young sons were inside. Only one of them made it out alive. The shooting was done with modified AK-47s.
28 shots were fired from modified AK-47s.
Ricky went home to see his father.
You look like shit.
I'm old and poor, Rick.
Richard said, "But I'm old and broke, so what do I care?" Richard mocked his son, calling him a fool for wearing a massive gold Star of David around his neck, even though he wasn't Jewish.
How stupid are these guys you're hanging around with? How stupid are you?
He then told Ricky to go back to school before he got in too deep to ever escape this life. Meanwhile, a crooked cop tipped Johnny off that the feds had an informant inside his crew.
Yeah, you know me, I take care of those who take care of me.
He needed to check his people. The authorities knew they couldn't cover up the murder of a child, so someone had to take the fall. And it didn't matter who, just as long as it was another black man, preferably not from Johnny's gang. The whole neighborhood was on edge. Ricky started avoiding the feds and decided to stay with his grandparents for a while.
I don't like pancakes. They give me the runs.
One evening, Ricky told his dad he was planning to go back to school. He walked into the house to look at his father's fish tank when suddenly Johnny Curry's underboss showed up.
What up, Nug?
What's up?
He apologized, pulled out a gun, and shot Ricky in the stomach.
I'm sorry, dude.
Ricky was rushed to the hospital under a fake name. Doctors fought to save his life. Richard blamed the feds for everything and swore revenge on the man who shot his son.
Rick, we're not in. You're responsible for this. There's a 15-year-old boy in there.
He waited for Johnny outside his garage, but when too many of Johnny's men showed up, Richard didn't dare pull the trigger. Agent Snyder later visited Ricky in the hospital, pressing him to reveal who shot him. Ricky refused to talk, but the feds already knew.
It doesn't really matter who pulled the trigger because we both know who put the gun in their hands.
They'd busted one of Johnny's dealers, and the guy had given Johnny up. Soon after, SWAT stormed Johnny Curry's house and arrested him along with the rest of his crew. When Ricky was finally released from the hospital, he hoped to find his sister at home.
Gone here?
No.
Tyrone had already ditched her, but she was still out somewhere, lost in her own mess. Ricky wondered how he could possibly return to school now, with a catheter still in place, and the school didn't want him back anyway. They said he was a danger to the other students. By 1986, Ricky still hadn't fully recovered. One day, a 10-year-old boy attacked him.
Yeah?
You've made a baby with my sister.
Ricky needed to man up and take responsibility.
You was daddy?
That's right.
Well, now you're granddaddy.
He went to Brandy's place to see his 6-week-old daughter. As he picked her up, Richard walked into the house. The grandpa was more excited about the baby than anything else.
I used to do this little dance with your daddy and his sister, yeah. Yes, man.
He hadn't exactly planned for either Dawn or Ricky, but everything somehow turned out fine.
Dad, your daughter is a junkie, and I'm shitting into a bag.
Well, what can I say? You know, glass half full kind of guy.
The main thing is to stay positive. Unlike his father, Ricky wasn't much of an optimist. He hinted that Richard should start selling drugs instead of guns. They could get rich fast and finally change their lives. But Richard had principles.
No drugs. They're poison, Ricky. They kill people. No fucking way.
What the fuck do you think you're selling? Water pistols?
At one point, Richard got distracted while driving. And he and Ricky almost crashed into another car. Ricky kept pushing, telling his father that Dawn wasn't coming back because they were broke. Now that he was a dad too, he needed money more than ever.
Like, ain't nobody gonna help us. We gotta do this before it's too late.
Soon after, Ricky checked out Derek's map and arranged a delivery for some goods. After Johnny, Ricky inherited a large client base. One night, he and Richard went to a brothel to bring Dawn home. Richard carried his daughter out as she screamed and fought back. But she was too weak to resist for long. He locked her in her room to force her through withdrawal. Meanwhile, Ricky had started making serious money and showered Brandy with food and clothes. At just 16, he'd become the new kingpin, leaving Katie without a husband. The two exchanged glances that said more than words. Richard did everything he could to help Dawn recover, and eventually, she turned her life around. By 1987, Dawn had become a homebody. Richard gathered the whole family to celebrate the opening of his first video store. One night, Ricky finally got the nerve to flirt with Katie at a bar.
You're doing a very dangerous thing, Ricky.
That same night, he went to her apartment and found out Johnny had been sentenced to 20 years in prison.
Johnny in prison for 20 years, that's how we doing.
That meant Ricky could not only take over Johnny's business, but also have his woman. For the first time in a long while, Richard felt happy. Both of his children were living with him under the same roof. They should all be grateful for what they have.
All right, Pops.
The man tells his son not to be greedy and warns him not to take more than they need. Otherwise, everything could easily fall apart. But it was already too late. The next morning, a squad of police officers stormed the house and arrested both father and son. Jackson scolds the boy, calling him a complete idiot if he really thought he wouldn't get caught.
Y'all know what the fuck I'm talking about. Fuck, look at me. 8 kilos.
The newspapers have now dubbed Ricky the cocaine baron. 8 kilograms of the substance were found in a box in his room. Richard is furious because it was actually the feds who pushed his son into selling drugs on the streets.
Would you believe a 15-year-old kid was working for the federal government?
But who would ever believe that a 15-year-old kid was working for the FBI? The family meets with the FBI agents at a motel. The agents refuse to admit that they forced Ricky to sell on the streets.
He did that on his own and he got caught. And now he's facing a life sentence.
However, there's a way out. He can be released if he agrees to help plant a mole inside the organization. The feds want to get close to the mayor, and their plan is to do it through his niece, Katie.
You get her to meet him. Get the introduction to the father,
who has recently grown close to Ricky. Richard convinces his son to agree to the deal and asks the agents to make it official somehow.
Now, I understand that you got feelings for this girl. And this is about getting guys like Jackson. And he's half the reason we're here in the first place.
But they refuse, telling him to simply take their word for it. Ricky meets Katie and asks the mayor's men to help escort a large shipment of goods. After the operation, 11 police officers are arrested, along with several of the mayor's close associates.
What is this?
It's okay, Pop. Me and Ricky, we got it all worked out then.
Reports on television credit the success of the sting to Ricky Wershe's cooperation. Richard tries to reassure his family, saying they've made a deal with the feds and everything will be taken care of quietly. But when Ricky's trial ends, the jury delivers its verdict.
Guilty of possession with the intent to distribute greater than 650 grams of controlled substance.
Richard Wershe Jr. is found guilty and sentenced to life in prison without parole. His grandfather is furious, saying Ricky's only 17 and they've just taken his entire life away.
This boy is 17 years old.
Guilty.
Ricky is sent to his new home, a prison cell. He's allowed 1 hour of exercise a day. The rest of the time, he's locked up. Richard later waits for Agent Snyder at the FBI headquarters, but she completely ignores him.
You were told that the Bureau would make best efforts with the court to mitigate Ricky's sentence.
She coldly tells him that no one ever promised them anything. The Bureau did ask for a lighter sentence, but the court didn't agree, and that was the end of it. Eventually, Richard finds another agent who tells him the harsh truth. They couldn't arrest the mayor back then, so they had to settle for catching a smaller fish.
We throw the little ones back when the big fish gets away.
Dawn came to visit Ricky with his daughter. Her grandfather had fallen ill after the trial and might never recover. Tearfully, Ricky asked his sister to show the little girl his photo more often.
Make sure you keep showing her.
Richard answered the phone and tried to comfort his son, saying he had spoken with some agents and that maybe Ricky would be released in 6 years. But Ricky was desperate. This wasn't living, it was dying.
It's like I'm dead in here.
Richard believed his son would have a better life than he ever did, but he'd only ended up standing in his way. He apologized.
I'm sorry.
Assuring Ricky that the family would always stand by him. Ricky quietly hung up. He served his sentence from 1988 until he was paroled in 2017, 29 long years. It became the longest prison sentence in Michigan's history for a nonviolent crime. His father passed away just 3 years later. Johnny Curry and his gang had long been free, and all the corrupt cops escaped punishment. Ricky has stayed in touch with his daughter throughout the years. She's now happily married and has 2 sons of her own. And that's the wild, heartbreaking story of White Boy Rick, a teenager who went from selling guns to working with the FBI, only to end up serving nearly 3 decades behind bars. If you enjoyed this recap, smash that like button so more people can find it, and subscribe to join us on more crazy movie journeys just like this one.